Hey, well, welcome to the Hornet King channel. I'm Brett, and this is my 1929 Ford Model A Roadster. This has nothing to do with the channel, but it's my favorite car. I love it, and I think it looks beautiful. And in this video, I'm gonna be removing a yellow jacket's nest from a client's house. This is actually the third nest that I had to remove from this client's house. 2 years ago, I removed 2 nests that were within like 15 feet of each other, and they called me this year because they had another nest, a whole different colony. And I want you to guess which species you think this yellow jacket colony is. Drop in the comments and let me know what your guess is. Is it German yellow jacket, southern yellow jacket, eastern yellow jacket, Vespula vidua, Dolicha vespula maculata, Dolicha vespula arenaria, Vespa crabro? You guess it and put it in the comments. So I cut this nest out of this client's ceiling, bring it home and feed it to my animals, my 2 emus, my Rhea, and my chickens.
And it left the space enough for them to get in.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
All right, good luck.
Thanks. Bingo.
Hey, Bennett.
That's what they tell me I got it. So this species is the, well, no, you're gonna have to guess which species this is. Drop in the comments and tell me which one you think this is. But anyhow, this particular colony decided to build its nest 1 rafter bay over from where I had actually removed a southern yellow jacket's nest 2 years prior. And when I had removed that colony, I instructed the client, I said, listen, you have to fill up this gap on the outside where the brick meets the wall, because that's how they were getting in from the outside. And unfortunately, the client kind of forgot about that spot, and 2 years later, they get a nest in the exact same location, the exact same ceiling. So you can actually kind of see the patch, the drywall patch right to my left, where the original cut was that I made for that southern yellow jacket colony. And then further down, like 15 feet down the rafter line, was another colony of German yellow jackets. So this area, this space is attracting new queens to enter this space. And that's usually what I tell my clients, like if they have a nest in a particular season, to make sure that they block up those holes, because the following season, founding queens that are looking for places to live will sense the original pheromone markers from that original colony, and that'll act as an attractant for them to go in and explore those spaces. And they may not build right where the original nest was, but they'll build in an adjacent space or somewhere close by, and all they have to do is get into that space or that structure, and they'll find a place to live, or they'll find a place to build their colony. But you can see that this nest was massive. The colony was massive. There were thousands and thousands of yellow jackets in this colony. So opening up a space like this, you're bound to get yellow jackets inside the living space. And unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast. So I usually just tell my clients, hey, just go upstairs or go into another room for the time being. And it usually takes about 40 minutes to an hour, depending on how involved the colony is. Now, this being a bigger colony, it did take me a little bit longer. I think I was here for about an hour, hour and 15 minutes. And that's fine. It's no problem. So when you are opening up a space like this, the yellow jackets make their way down. And sometimes if it's bright outside, I'll turn off the lights, and then they'll just be attracted just to the window. But this particular day, it was a bit cloudy and stuff, and I was like, well, they're going to be floating all around this room and then the adjacent room. So I'd rather just kind of keep them consolidated in this room. So I turned on the chandelier, which was the only light for this room. And that, of course, that's what they were attracted to. Well, that chandelier is very ornate, and you'll see it a little bit later in the video. I mean, it was kind of a nightmare having to vacuum all the yellow jackets off of it. So that's just the way it is. So I vacuum up as many as I can inside the space to keep them from coming out. But, you know, when they're coming out to attack, they're going to be flying out at me, and then they'll be attracted to light after they attack me, and then they fly to it, and then they fly to the window. But there were just so many inside of this colony. I just took my time vacuuming as much as I had to get the numbers down on the inside before I start pulling the nest down. And this was a pretty productive colony. I mean, there was males, there was queens, and there were obviously a ton of workers. Showing that that's a reproductive colony, this one would be soon releasing its new queens. Now, for a colony this size, you're probably looking at about 250 to 500 new queens in this colony, if not more. I mean, that's just a guesstimation because I'm seeing how many of the queen cells that are hanging there. and you kind of judge by how many queen cells there are within a certain comb, and then that would tell you, okay, roughly you'd have about this many queens at the end of the season. So 250, say just for the sake of argument, 250 queens, that's 250 potential nests the following season. And that's just within this small vicinity where this house is. So, when you nip a nest like this in the bud, then you are mitigating the potential of having new nests next year. So as I'm vacuuming up these colonies, I'm actually trying to pull down some of the envelope at the same time. What I'm not trying to do is suck up a bunch of the comb. My vacuum canister is only so big, and I don't want to be sucking up like mass of comb. When I'm sucking up yellow jackets, or I'm sucking up a ton of envelope, it's not taking up a lot of space in my vacuum. I mean, if you think about how, if you clumped up all the yellow jackets in this colony, even hundreds of them, it really only would be about the size of a baseball or a softball. So when you're sucking up the envelope, it might look like a girth because it's all like layered and stuff on the nest. But as you're sucking that up into the vacuum, it's kind of shredding it, and it's going into the water inside my vacuum, and it's like making it soggy, and it's sinking to the bottom. So it's kind of compacting it, So it's not like the vacuum's like filling up super fast. But if I were sucking up comb, I mean, that's just a lot more. That is significant mass because there's a bunch of larvae inside of it and pupating adults and things. So that would actually potentially clog up the vacuum nozzle. So I'm not trying to vacuum up the comb, which is a common misconception when people watch my videos like, oh, that vacuum sucks. It sucks, pun intended, because it's not getting the comb. But I'm not trying to get the comb. So starting to pull this down, I'm going to be bagging it up. I ran out of Rubbermaid bins. So I just started bagging this nest up. And you could see, that right there is pretty much 90% as queen comb. So this is actually one of the more, nerve-wracking aspects of removal process is reaching your hand up into a space like that. So putting my hand, I can't see. I mean, I'm looking at the phone, but even then, I really can't see very well into that space. And you're just grabbing anything that feels solid and pulling it down, and it's buzzing and humming and vibrating. And you're just like, all right, please, glove, don't have any weak spots on it so that I don't get stung, and you kind of go into the removals expecting to get stung, but, you have thousands of potentials here of being stung through the glove. But you can see that they're caked all over my gloves, so they were definitely trying. They were trying to get through. And I think these were new gloves, too, and luckily they weren't wet or damp or anything. But even the ones that I'm vacuuming up, I mean, I've probably already vacuumed up about 10,000 yellow jackets or so. But you have to consider that there's still thousands more in between the layers of comb that haven't come out yet, or thousands of larvae and pupating adults. So you have to tally all that up to kind of get a good estimation as to how large the populace is in this colony. And people ask too, what kind of protection do I have with that suit? Is the suit a deterrent? Is it sting proof? Is there such a thing as a sting proof suit? I mean, I'm sure there are quote sting proof, but they would have to be made out of something like rubber or something. But most suits are ventilated or some kind of fabric. My suit itself is a fabric mesh, and there's 3 layers of mesh. And then the gloves have a canvas sleeve that goes over the suit sleeve, and then the leather glove itself. So I'm pretty well protected, but it's not sting proof. It's keeping their stingers away from my skin, so it's more of a sting deterrent. And no, I did not get stung during this removal, but there was definitely a lot of potential to get stung. So now I'm going around and just vacuuming up any of the remaining foragers and workers and things that are inside of this cavity space, and trying to get as much of that envelope out as I can too. And people ask too when I do these removals, hey, why didn't they have any insulation in these spaces? Well, this particular space, they didn't have any insulation between the flooring joist bays, but there was insulation against the front wall in that space. But a lot of that insulation had been removed by the yellow jackets. The yellow jackets will actually pinch up little bits of the fiberglass insulation and make these little tiny balls, and that almost about the size of a pea or a little bit smaller. And they carry that outside, and then they drop it out in the yard or wherever, not too far from where they leave the entranceway. So this batten of insulation, you can kind of see where that is. It was a lot bigger before the yellow jackets moved in. So as they kind of need to make room for the nest, then they start excavating out some of the insulation. So I pretty much got as many out of the spaces that I can. there's going to be some coming back from foraging and whatnot, but I do like spray inside of that space to kill any of the ones that are kind of hunkered down, any nooks and crannies and things. But this is the entranceway, so this is how they were getting in. So you can see there's only a few foragers flying around inspecting the entranceway. So I just take a little bit of the Wasp and Hornet spray and spray it into that space. And that's really just to get and act as a deterrent, so no more of the yellow jackets can get into that space. But this is a prime example. You see how liquid that was. When I spray it on the wall, it just kind of runs down. Within like 10 minutes, that's going to be all evaporated off of there. And it's going to be like I never sprayed it at all. So I will spray some spider and scorpion spray there. And again, it's not to treat the nest or to treat the colony. It's to act as a deterrent. So that way it breaks that pheromone marker. So that way the workers won't be able to get back into that space. But look at this nightmare of a chandelier. So I get to vacuum all of those yellow jackets off that chandelier. So it's kind of a downside and an upside. The downside is I got to vacuum them off the chandelier. The benefit is, the upside is that they are on the chandelier, and that's kind of where they're centralized. So it gave them somewhere to focus, to consolidate, so that way I could vacuum them all from one spot. Even if it was going to be a kind of a pain in the butt type spot. So you can see where I'm just spraying some of the Wasp and Hornet spray in there, just trying to nip any few of the last individuals that are in there, kind of hunkered down in the insulation that I can't reach with the vacuum.
You don't want to come down.
So there are some that are left behind.
I'll
but they
show you
will
the
die,
video.
and they'll just kind of dry up in there and not be a problem.
But the nest is out.
So I put some duct tape over the hole just to temporarily seal it, so that way none of these remaining workers that got sprayed that are kind of flopping around, that they're not falling down through the ceiling into the living space. Because I want to clean everything up so everything's nice and tidy for the homeowner. So bagging up the last little bit of comb, and then going around just vacuuming up the rest of the drywall dust and any envelope that dropped, and obviously some workers and things. Just trying to make it as clean as possible. I don't like to leave a mess for the homeowner, but there is a little bit of dust and stuff that they're going to have to wipe up when I leave. So the fun task of going around and vacuuming all the workers off this light fixture. And people will say, like, oh, I bet that they're attracted to the EMF that's coming off of the outlet box inside of there, up inside the ceiling, or the wire going down to the light bulbs. No, they're just attracted to the light. And you can see it's projecting a lot of light around that chandelier and around the ceiling above it. So they'll kind of like fly up to the ceiling and kind of bounce off of it where the glares are, and they'll land on the chain, and they'll just consolidate anywhere that they can clump. And they're just trying to clump in a mass somewhere. That's what they're doing. And this took quite a bit of time. I think I was here for probably about 25 minutes just trying to get everybody off that chandelier. And the ones that were floating around, eventually they land, and they land on the chandelier, they land on the light. So even after I get a mass off them, I kind of move around to a different part of the room and vacuum up some off the window, and I come back and there's another clump on the chandelier, as you can kind of see here. But eventually they're all gone, and there's no more clumping, and there's no more yellow jackets in the room. But I just do a really thorough sweep around the room to make sure that I don't leave anybody behind. I don't want the homeowner to find any and get stung, or just, you know, seeing any in the room at all. That's my job, to make sure that I remove them. So just getting the last few off the windows, and this curtain, which I dropped down because I didn't want it to have to vacuum any off of there, but it looks like I had to vacuum some off of there anyway. But the sun wasn't helping me today to shine through and attract them to the window. So it was all cloudy and stormy again with my second time being here. So. And that's it. Everybody's gone. Doing one more pass around the room just to make sure, and everybody's out of this place. There's actually one floating around there, but it went to the window. So when I bring these nests home, I just kind of dissect them out. I make sure I get any of the live workers off of the nest. I feed them to my animals. And people ask, like, well, do the chickens get stung, or the emus or Rhea, do they get stung when they're eating these nests? No, because they primarily do not eat the adult wasps. So anything that's in the vacuum gets dumped onto my compost pile, but then anything that's in between the layers of comb, any workers or anything that are in between there that are alive, will pretty much just crawl away from the nest while the birds are eating it, and the birds themselves will not eat that live adult. They'll just kind of let it walk away. Now, Rhea did eat live bald-faced hornets when she was younger, but so far Like if I'm tossing out a nest full of larvae and pupae, they'd rather eat the larvae and the pupae than they would the adult wasp. So I just dissect these nests and then toss them in for the animals.
Queen cells. Oh, Rhea the Rhea. Hello, Emu birdie. Oh, good morning, birdie. Oh, one of the Hornets. Hello, birdie. Hello, birdie. Hello, Henny. Oh, what a good girl, Henny. What a good girl, Henny. You guys ready for some yellow jacket nest? Hello, birdies. Oh, the golden birdies. Let's get the emus and the chicks and the Rhea. Rhea the Rhea. Oh, Rhea the Rhea. And the chickies. Come on, birdies. Chippity. Oh, emu birdies. Come on, birdies. Open this bag up. Good birdies? Oh, Rhea the Rhea. Hello, Rhea the Rhea. What a good birdie. What a good Rhea birdie. Oh, Rhea the Rhea. Are you a bouncy birdie? Oh, Rhea the Rhea. Are you a bouncy Rhea birdie? Oh, emu birdie. Oh, playful emu birdie. You know, I made this fence nice and long so you guys could run a long way. And you're only going to where the original fence was. A nice emu booty. Oh, Rhea the Rhea. Oh, Rhea the Rhea. Whoa, careful, booty. Don't fall over. Aw, be careful with baby. Oh, Rhea the Rhea.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to check out this video. If you guys enjoyed this content, drop in the comments, let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions for future videos or something to see me cover in an upcoming video, also drop in the comments, let me know. If you guys haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so and hit that bell notification down below, and that way you get an update anytime I do post a video. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to check out this video and supporting my channel, and I'll catch you on the next video.